I'm sorry.
There you go. Now, there you go. We're good now. We're good.
I screwed up. I screwed up.
Right. So, with the bro my God moment of the week, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, 76 years old, going on 77 years old. He is the oldest person to ever compete in WrestleMania history now. He said, you know what? I'm going to choose someone to go against Pat McAfee. He goes on Pat McAfee's show. I'm going to give you a WrestleMania match. Austin Theory is the person. He loses. Austin Theory loses to McAfee. And so billionaire Vince comes and struts his way back into the ring. He beats Pat McAfee. And all this sets up for a Austin moment where it was the worst stunner that I've ever seen in the 35 years plus that I've been watching pro wrestling. And it was pretty bad. But Vince McMahon, just being Vince McMahon, just being that guy that
unquestionably,
I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna be the one who's gonna look like an idiot to make my roster realize that if I can do it, you can too. That's the Vince McMahon way. So Bill Apter, your thoughts on Vince returning to the ring?
Well, unquestionably, that's an excellent question. Actually, I've got him on the floor here somewhere, one of my toys, but I can't reach him right now. So 2 things here. Number 1, I showed my son-in-law that I can still do this. That's number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2 is his body looked pretty amazing. And as to the stunner, I think if somebody got a stunner as a shoot, they would have fallen the way he fell. There was no drama in it. It's like he just, But everybody was commenting on how poorly and how bad it looked. But what the hell, he did it. That's the bottom line, son.
Let me say what Mr. Apter will not say, because he's a scholar and a gentleman. Okay,
I may say it.
This is your basic egotistical narcissist. I don't know if Vince is trying to prove something to himself, but Chris, this was the worst part. Forget about how Vince looked, because he looked horrible. I'm not even talking about that. But bro, in order for him to prove whatever it was he was trying to prove, he made McAfee look like an absolute idiot. That's the part that bothered me. McAfee had to sell those clotheslines like somebody was shooting him in the throat with a shotgun. He made a world-class athlete look like an absolute idiot. And that's the part that really, really bothered me. And of course, bro, McAfee is going to be respectful, because to him, Vince McMahon is God. So yes, Vince, whatever you want. But I'm watching at home and I'm like, bro, you're making this poor guy look like an absolute idiot. That's the part that really, really bothered me, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, and I understand that. Unquestionably, I do what I want to do, Vince. You know that. Unquestionably, you're fired. Get out of here.
Bro, can we just have Mr. Apter do a puppet show for the remainder of the time, Chris? Can we just do that?
Very nice. Very nice.
That depends. $3 in a thrift shop. But with Pat McAfee, the thing I want to bring out is his performance in his match was excellent.
Yes,
right. But then he had to do that.
No,
Bill.
I know it. But it's amazing that sometimes these celebrities come across like they're more of a professional wrestler than the actual guys that are trained to do this thing. I mean, yeah.
That's a good point.
I was, yeah.
Well, you can tell McAfee, like, he's a student of the business. Like, he really enjoys his spot. he's a wrestling fan, and you can tell that he's been a wrestling fan for a long time. Even in the interview that he had with Vince, on his show, he just talks about how much he has his own ring, like built. So he likes the business, and I watched his NXT matches too. They were pretty good. With the one with Adam Cole and the War Games match, you can tell that. I'm sorry, Vince. Is there something that you needed to say right there?
No more. He's fired.
Bro, look, bro. Even his doll, he makes sure his suits are 3 sizes too small for him, bro.
Yes.
Even his own action.
Yeah, so McAfee, you can tell that he's a student of the business. He loves it. He loves being in the spot that he's in. So, like you said, he's going to take the fall from Vince McMahon any day of the week. Whoa, I actually had a match with Vince McMahon at WrestleMania. Right. Are you kidding? That alone is enough for me.
Well, but think of this too, is that when he did this with McAfee, Pat McAfee is going to send that to every news outlet. That any way he can get seen with this. So it, as bad as it might have been the way you're looking at it, Vince, it's good in terms of the WWE. Look what happened.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. And I think at this WrestleMania, because it was done multiple times, I think they really set the message in this WrestleMania for future WrestleManias that anything can happen. You got look, bro, because can you imagine next year they're going to say, look what happened last year. Anything can happen. And
wait a minute.
I think that's why they did a lot of things that they did.
Which broadcaster back in the WWF used to, and you have to finish the whole phrase, anything can happen, and
it does?
It probably will. Bill Cardell, Chili Billy
Billy, yes. Chili Billy Willie, yes.
Yeah.
So, speaking of future WrestleManias, bit sidebar here, do you think that we will see The Rock versus Roman Reigns next year?
That's hard to tell because we don't know where The Rock will be at that point. Roman Reigns will probably be still in the company unless Hollywood grabs him too. But in terms of The Rock and his production company and the movies and all that, and who knows, I mean, if he's been away from the ring for a long time, he works out like a monster. He looks like a monster in a good way. But who knows? By then the fans may just... It depends how Rock's legend grows to the wrestling fans, not to the movie fans, in my opinion. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not one to say... I think they need to bring in another guy for Roman Reigns and groom somebody that's a up-and-coming wrestler.
I think The Rock will be in the Hall of Fame next year. He's a California guy, born in California, and I think he'll probably be inducted in the Hall of Fame as the headliner next year. That's my...
It doesn't matter.
That's my bold prediction. So, Vince, what do you think? Rock and Reigns?
Yeah, I mean, bro, it's it's the fact, like you said, Chris, the fact that it is going to be in California. I mean, the stage is set. Bro, if it were just another wrestler, I wouldn't put whole much weight, but it's blood, man. He's really doing it's not money. I mean, let's be honest, bro. Like, Rock at this point does not need Vince McMahon, the WWE. It's family, it's blood, and I really think that at the end of the day, that's why he would do it.
Yeah, I agree.
They're also going to have a zillion celebrities.
In
Hollywood. Yeah, in Hollywood.
This is going to be like with a major boxing fight. All the celebrities are trying to get tickets. This is going to be the hot ticket.
Yeah.
The Rock against Roman or anyone at this point would be the exceptional draw on that card.
Yeah.
Sure.
It just makes sense. It's Hollywood. Rock's a movie star now, so it makes sense. So let's go broing down memory lane, fellas. So Gilbert was recently interviewed, and he mentioned a few things. Looks like Apter is reaching for a Gilbert doll, perhaps. Gilbert. Oh, who is that? Is that Go? That's actually Gilbert. Oh, okay. Nice. So his arch rival, Gilbert, he had an interview recently, and he mentioned a few things. He talked about Gilbert smashing the TV, and he also talked about how Gilbert. I mean, he pitched multiple times to Goldberg that, hey, come on. I mean, let's just do you and I. You know, we'll put some butts in some seats. You know good and well that I am a parody of you. You know, let's do. And Goldberg rejected it every single time. Vince, do you think we should have seen, if it for just one segment that was just an absolute squash, should we have seen one time Gilbert versus Goldberg?
1,000%. Yeah, listen, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bill Goldberg did not think it was funny. But no, bro, it was funny. And if I'm Bill Goldberg, I'm going to be flattered. You know, I'm going to be flattered that this guy's going out here and imitating me. And yeah, bro, why wouldn't I take the opportunity to just absolutely rip this guy's limbs from it?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't I do that? But I just think, bro, sometimes in wrestling, man, people just take stuff too seriously, man. That wasn't meant to upset Bill Goldberg. We did it because it was funny, bro. That's why we did it.
Yeah.
That was great. It was great. I totally agree with you, Vince. That great shtick moment of Goldberg just spearing him, and it just would have been great. Everybody wanted to see. And I talked to Gilbert at the Icons of Wrestling convention 2 weeks ago here in the Philadelphia area, and he said no, he and Bill talk once in a while, and they're friends and all that, but he just said he just got so hot, he just didn't think it was worth it. It just didn't. He was mad because that character that he had, he didn't want any comedy associated with it.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
Missed
opportunity.
I don't think it would have damaged the Goldberg name whatsoever. I mean, especially if he would have just absolutely squashed them. I mean, that would have made him look stronger. You know what I mean? If anything,
right.
Yeah. So, and Goldberg actually capitalized off of that. He was part of the Job Squad. He was an enhancement talent for a while, and the Gilbert gimmick put him over. He ended up winning the light heavyweight championship. People were cheering for him. It was over.
Bro, I mean, literally, bro, it's 2022. He's working conventions. I mean, good for him. I mean, he made a living off of that. How can you deny that, bro?
That's true. Good point.
Good for him, man.
Yeah, I agree. Good point. Yeah.
I mean, he made a career out of that. You know, when he was Dwayne Gill, he was another, regular guy.
Right.
But once he became Gilbert, everybody wanted to see it. Everybody wanted to see it, except Bill Goldberg.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And the sparkles, and it was hilarious, man. I love him playing the sparkles and, doing the whole deal, and it was hilarious, man. Yeah. I would be flattered if I was Goldberg, honestly.
It's an old saying, but imitation is the
sincerest form of flattery. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, see, bro, it's funny because when you kind of compare that to fake Razor and fake Diesel, now that was horrible. But because they were actually trying to pass off that this was Scott Hall. Gilbert was a parody, bro. It was a joke from the jump. It was never meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah. And fake Razor and fake Diesel wasn't an imitation. It was just they were trying to point him as a real deal. It was just, it was very bad. So
that's like when I was growing up and watching TV shows and they would replace one of the characters with another actor or actress. Yeah. And you knew, what are they, it's the same. Yeah.
I remember watching Fresh Prince. I was a big Fresh Prince, Will Smith stuff going on nowadays. But I was a big Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan. And I remember when they went to the next season, they changed Aunt Viv. I'm like, no, that wasn't the original. That's not Aunt Viv. That's not the same person. So she ended up, the replacement ended up doing a good job, regardless. But it's like, nah, that's not the same person. So
when I was growing up, when I was a little kid, I was fascinated with the old Flash Gordon series with Buster Crabbe, and his girlfriend Dale Arden always had this beautiful blonde hair. And then they did a series of 3 serials, and in serial number 3, Prince Baron, who was like a big overweight guy in serial number 1 and 2, he was a little skinny guy in number 3, and Dale had black hair, and it was a different actress, and I was like, these aren't the same people.
Yeah.
You can tell for sure. All right, fellas, let's land the plane on the low pro. So the Undertaker, just a phenomenal Hall of Fame speech. It lasted for about an hour and a half, and it didn't seem like it was that long. Though. It was so good. It was more like a TED talk, more than a Hall of Fame speech. But it was phenomenal. I enjoyed every bit of it. Me as a firm believer, he when he was mentioning Michelle McCool and how he restored his relationship with Christ, and I popped for that. That was my best part of the speech. And another part that he was talking, he went through a bunch of wrestlers and things like that. It was giving some credit to Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and he mentioned different matches. He didn't mention the Boiler Room Brawl, so he gave Mick Foley some type of credit there, some type of acknowledgement. But Noelle Foley went to social media and she posted multiple tweets about not being happy that the Undertaker did not mention Mick Foley by name. Bill, your thoughts on Noelle Foley's thoughts?
I'm with her. There's several thoughts I have about this. I thought his speech was brilliant, but to the kids that are out there that watch this, who is this guy? This isn't the Undertaker. This is Mark Calloway. I thought the Undertaker was the Undertaker in real life. I'm talking about, what I'm talking about, right? The kids that watch.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They don't know that there's a guy under the guise of the Undertaker. Yeah. So that bothered me a little bit. Again, his speech was brilliant. As soon as he started thanking wrestlers, the first guy I thought of was Mick Foley falling off that Hell in a Cell cage. First one I thought of. By the time he got to the end, I said, why didn't he mention Mick Foley? That was one of the greatest Hell in a Cell moments of all time. How, Foley gave his body for the Undertaker and he in their match. So I agree with her 100%. I don't know why he wasn't mentioned. But even the next night when he came out and it looked like maybe he was going to put the Undertaker hat on and come back and tombstone somebody, I was just very surprised that they kept him as Mark Calloway the entire time.
Very interesting. Vince?
Man, it's weird, Chris, because knowing him, God, I can't see him slighting anybody, especially if he's talking about God. In this, I can't see him slighting anybody. But bro, when you look at that long, lustrous career, bro, there's a lot of people he's got a name. There's a lot of people he's got a name. But is it Mick Foley is so obvious. It's not like he had a little run. It was so obvious. But like I said, man, knowing him, I can't believe for a second he tried to slight Mick. So I really don't know what was behind it, man. I really don't.
Sometimes, and we've all been in this situation, you prepare something, you go in front of a crowd, and by the time you get backstage or whatever, you go like, damn, I forgot to.
Yeah.
Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, before they were Rock and Roll Express, before they were inducted into the Hall of Fame, I was with them back in the reception room, and they said, hey, Bill, we're going to mention you because with those magazines, you guys really got us going. By the end of the speech, there was no I said, don't mention me, mention the magazines, please. They got back there and they said, damn, we forgot.
Yeah.
So maybe it was an I forgot moment.
I think it was just an oversight. I personally just think it was an oversight.
Maybe it'll be the next match. No, maybe that. See, now we're wrestling.
There you go. Never say never.
But Chris, on the other side of that coin, if it was an oversight, and I want to believe it was an oversight, I want to believe that somebody had to smarten him up on Noelle's comments. So you would think he would come back and say, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sure.
And
On social media.
to your point, if I'm not mistaken, I think Foley forgot to mention his wife on his
that's what Noelle said.
Yeah. So Foley forgot to mention his own wife in his Hall of Fame speech. So
Yeah.
we're talking about oversights here.
Yeah.
You should mention your wife first. So
Yes.
you know, that makes sense. But I think he did. To your point, Vince, I think he did make up for it. You know, with a post on social media right after saying, you know, okay, oops, you know. So
He did say something.
Yeah. I think if I'm not
I
mistaken,
didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, if I'm not mistaken,
Well, I
he
didn't
did
either.
say something.
Okay. Cool.
You're saying Mark Calloway apologized?
No, Foley did about his wife.
Oh, I'm talking about Taker.
No. That's what I'm saying. To your point, Foley did post something about his wife after the oversight, but to your point, Taker could have. I mean, because he's active on social media now too, so he could have mentioned Mick Foley.
I'm sorry.
There you go. Now there you go. We're good now. We're good.
I screwed up.
Yeah.
Gee.
So how would you, Bill? How would you have integrated the Undertaker in the Hall of Fame speech? Because you're right. Up until the very end, we saw 100% Mark Calloway, and then we saw the Undertaker at the very end. How would you have integrated the two within the Hall of Fame speech?
That's as I said. He was going up the ramp. He should have gotten the hat, put it on, turned around, put the eyes up like he always does, come back and tombstone the ring announcer or something.
Mm-hmm.
Just give him the Undertaker and leave as the Undertaker, not as Mark Calloway. And on night 2, even more so. He came out, you know, without the gimmick and everything. And for a minute, I thought he was going to do something. He was going to put on the, but it never happened. And I'm not the only person who said that. But again, to be honest with you, his speech was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it was really good.